Whoa. Hey dudes and dudettes, today's video is going to be a little different from the other videos that I post on a regular basis. If you're a Markiplier fan like me, you love Mark, he's adorable, he's funny, he's awesome, and not to mention, look at that pink hair. That is freaking awesome. Some of you may or may not know the story. Social media has been going crazy recently. Earlier this week, Mark tweeted out on Twitter saying that he would not be uploading videos for a while because something very dramatic had happened in his life. It caused a lot of us Markiplier fans, like me, to kind of freak out because we didn't know what was going on, and we all love Mark, and we were just hoping that everything was going to be okay. Mark lives with his friends, aka known as Cynadgo, I believe that's how you say their name, YouTube group. Sadly, the news was brought to us the other day that Daniel from Cynadgo on September 15th attempted to commit suicide. On September 18th, they pulled his life support. I'm really amazed as to how social media is handling this. I actually have not seen any hate whatsoever about Daniel's past. There's just been a lot of moral support for Markiplier and Cynadgo. Daniel was dealing with depression. It has a lot of people wondering, how does somebody so happy and that smiles all the time have depression and decide to result to suicide? This is what I want to talk about today, is depression and suicide. Depression, and especially suicide, is not really a fun topic to talk about. It's very uncomfortable, and a lot of people would rather not hear about it. But it is a very important topic that should be addressed. I can kind of personally, on one note, understand what Daniel was going through. It was very difficult for him to deal with depression because I have dealt with depression. Some of you do know and some of you don't. I dealt with bullying throughout my entire years of going to public school. I went from kindergarten until my sophomore year. My parents took me out due to so much bullying, and I was homeschooled. I dealt with a lot of emotions that I couldn't really understand of what was going on. I was called a lot of things, a lot of mean things was said to me. I was called everything that you could think of in the book of kids being mean to one another. It also meant that I was picked on a lot at school. Kids liked to pick me up and throw me in the trash cans and slam me against the locker because I was so small for my age. There was a few times that I was in a few fights with some people. Since this happened every day on a regular basis, I started to develop feelings that I did not understand. I began hating myself. I began not wanting to live anymore. And eventually it came to a breaking point for me where suicide was the result I was going to choose. Now, I'm not saying this to make you feel sorry for me or to get attention. I'm saying this because I want you guys to know that even us happiest people are not always the happiest. When I was going to school, I didn't want people to know that I was dealing with depression and that I was suicidal because, one, it would just make the kids pick at me more, and two, I didn't want people to think less of me. Depression or being suicidal is nothing to be ashamed of. I know when I was dealing with depression, it made me feel like I was weak and I couldn't do anything. Just because you have depression doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It means that something dramatic has happened in your life, and it's come to a point where it's difficult to deal with. People who have depression are the strongest people in this world because you're battling a battle that only you can win. A lot of times people say that depression is just an act, and that's because they don't really understand it. I learned in life that people tend to judge things that they don't understand. And having others to help you, there's nothing wrong with that. Taking medication, there's nothing wrong with that either. I don't know why people say this, but they say if you go to a counselor that's a crazy doctor and that you're going to be put in a mental hospital. When you go to a counselor, or if you decide to go to a counselor, they're not a crazy doctor. I promise you they're not a crazy doctor. I have been to 4 different counselors within 4 to 5 years, and not one of them has put me in a crazy hospital or insane asylum. So whoever tells you that a counselor is a crazy doctor, they're actually the ones that are crazy. Just regular people there to help you. They talk to you and they help you get through your depression or whatever it may be that you're going through. I know it is scary to go through these things, and I know that it is difficult to talk to somebody about it, but once you do and you take that first step of telling someone, you're on the road to recovery, and you're gonna get better. You are not alone. You are never alone. Having depression is not a bad thing. Being suicidal does not make you a coward. Taking medication for your depression or whatever illness you may have does not make you a weak person. Going to a counselor does not make you crazy. Having depression makes you stronger. Being suicidal and getting past it teaches you to love every moment of life. Taking medication makes you better, and going to a counselor gives you a new best friend, because it's someone who you can talk to and trust to get you through your problem. I hope this video inspired you. I'd really appreciate it if you dudes and dudettes would share it around. Who knows, you could save somebody's life today just by sharing. I'll see you dudes and dudettes later this week with my crazy fun videos. Booyakasha, baby! Ellis out! You are perfect and you are worth it. Don't you dare let anyone tell you otherwise. You're a warrior and you got this.